Boom. Rocking and rolling. For today's training session, the background story is right now with a client, I am helping them gear up for a big launch, right? Like something that you guys are very familiar with, something that everyone's working towards, whether that's building your wait list or putting together the program so that you can launch the beta, like getting people to ultimately purchase your offer. And in preparation for this launch with this client, I started ideating on all of the different social media content pieces. And for this client specifically, the social media content that I would then turn into ads. And I just realized how sometimes big of a task it is to go out there and create so many social media posts. I know for me, like I just personally hate staring at a blank page. When you ask me, hey, Bond, like, what are you going to go post on your Instagram? Usually the answer is nothing, because I don't sit down and really think through a large body of content at one time. But we know as entrepreneurs, our time is scarce and we need to essentially batch that time to be able to produce content that puts people out, like puts our content out there, that attracts people into our world, that gets them fired up to then purchase our offer down the line, right? So today I really wanted to take you guys through different methods for content inspiration. And my method for how I put together a lot of different pieces of content is very hands-on. So I'm just going to walk you through the different things that I do to literally come up with, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Instagram posts, like ideas at once, so that you can, in a shorter time period, plan out that launch content, plan out your social media content calendar for like a month at a time, so that you spend less time doing it, right? Then you have more time for engagement looping, and then you have more time for building that community and showing up in the comments and getting on other people's podcasts and doing the things to get yourself out there more. At the end of the day, we could have amazing content, but if it's not getting eyeballs, if you're not getting out there on other people's platform, if people aren't sharing your content, then all of that time that we spend working on that content really isn't that valuable to our business. And so what I'm going to show you and take you through a few different ways to get that content inspiration. Is just a way to help streamline that as you're creating a lot of content, sometimes with little return up front, until that momentum starts to build. And it's that momentum that we're always talking about working towards and showing up to the process along the way. Okay, so the first tip that I have for finding content inspiration actually comes from ourselves, right? So what I want to show you here is we have put out content on our own personal pages, on our business pages, sometimes for literal years at this point. So Facebook has a way for you to go find all of that content and pull it into one spot without having to like go and copy and paste this and scroll and copy and paste that, to see all of your content from these platforms in one place. So I'm going to take you the long way of where to find that, and then I'm going to show you a little shortcut to get there. But if you're on your Facebook page, that's where I'm going to recommend we start for this longer way. Beside Insights, we clicked See All. And then what we're going to do is just come down here to the most recent posts, and you can click See All Posts. You can also filter it by engagement rate, which is something that we do in that engagement rate spreadsheet that we're always talking about, to see which posts have the highest engagement. So we could come down here, we could check out, is there anything, are there any posts that are much more engaging than the others? In these few examples, this 9% one, this 8% one, another 8% over or one over there, definitely not the 0.5% one, definitely not the less than 1% one over here. But a quick way to just access each of those high performing things is to launch the ad itself, to then take inspiration, right? So this is leading to a lead magnet, right? It could be a wait list for your offer, for your upcoming launch. But maybe you posted this 3 months ago. You could just copy and paste this, retweak it, right? Like I'm not saying go, I did just say copy and paste, but I don't mean copy this post and then re-release that post exactly as it is. Now that I think about it, I actually don't not mean that though, because if it worked and let's say you posted this last year and it's launch time again, you could definitely come and reuse this post because you've already done that work up front. So just contradicted myself there. I realized that there's a post that I post on my own page using this tactic literally once a year. So we can definitely post that way. So this is the longer way. The shorter way is there's two ways to get there. We're going to go to Creator Studio. So this is how you get there from the back of your Facebook page. Or if you just log on to Facebook, it should be on your left-hand side here. So let's open that up and there's the icon for Creator Studio. So we'll go ahead and give that a click. It's going to launch Creator Studio. And here is where we're going to be able to do one of my absolute favorite things. And I'm going to do it. Let's do it from my page because I actually pulled those ones up already. So at this point, we're going to, oh my gosh, now I'm going to forget the spot to do it. Insights? It's Insights. Okay, so we're going to click down to Insights and we will come over to this button over on the right-hand side. And we're going to say, hey, whatever Facebook page, we're starting with Facebook page, we want to see all the content from one place in. Choose whatever that is. So as you can see, I've got access to more than that. So we'll click there with that page. Then we just select a date range. Now, Facebook has this really strange thing that, watch, if I try and, am I still on? It says that I have been signed out. Bronwyn just joined us. Can you guys hear me? I just got a notification that I've been signed out. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if I'm still here rocking and rolling and you can see my screen. I don't want to have been kicked off. Yep. Okay, perfect. So all I was saying is there's this thing that Facebook has when you go to download this stuff that they don't actually let you download more than 90 days at a time, right? So today's April 7th. Essentially, we will have to do it month by month, like as we go. So April 7th, so then March 8th would be the next one, February 8th after that, and then January 8th. Shoot, that even might be too long because some, oh my gosh. Because some of those months have extra. Nope, that worked. Okay, so we're going to pick a 90-day range. We're then going to keep the lifetime view. We're going to click post and then don't worry about the filters here. Just keep it with whatever they have. So we're going to generate that report. What it's going to do is in this top corner, it's going to get it ready and then you'll be able to download it. I actually have one pulled up. I don't remember this one. Yeah, this one's from my Facebook page. So here's what it's going to look like once it downloads. And every single post that you have ever written in that 90-day period is going to appear here. So when you're going to plan your content calendar for next month, when you're going to sit down and pre-plan all of the social media content for this platform for your launch, you can go download this, use the information about the engagement rate from your page to then just take inspiration from posts that you've already written. And by inspiration, I mean, it could be the specific sentences of inspiration. It could be the way that you formatted the post or the way that your styling is for that writing. It could be how short or long it is. It could be, did you ask a question, or was it a yes or no, or did you ask people to reply? Really, the focus is just finding things to get your brain going so that you don't have that curse where you're just staring at a blank sheet. Because for me, I am an optimizer when I stare at a blank sheet and it's like, okay, Bond, write 30 days worth of social media content. I'm like, that's cute, but that's not how it works. So for me, I like to start with content that I've already produced. So that's how we get all of our Facebook posts that we've ever done all in one place so that we can scan it and read it quickly. I mean, you could even come over here and literally like just get rid of a bunch of rows so that this is the only thing left on the page. I'm a big fan of printing stuff out because we do so much digitally that I love writing content very analog, as you can see, right? Like I'm even sketching out different Instagram post ideas as we go. And so you could get rid of everything else on this sheet and just simply print those out, move things around. This post is going to come over here. This time I'm going to link them to my webinar. This time I'm going to get them to download my PDF. This time I'm going to get them to join the wait list. You've done so much work and created so much content already. Definitely pull from the train of thoughts that you've created before. Now, once you pull that once, if you want to continue getting it for different date ranges, for example, this client that I'm working with now on this launch, I'm literally going to go back and pull their content for as long as that page has been around, because for them, they've had the exact same business. They've sold the exact same thing since I think it was like 2018. So I'm going to manually every 90-day period, right? So that one I had till January 8th. This time I'm going to click till, I don't even know what, January, February, November 8th. And then I'm going to do that again, click down to post and generate that next report, and then all condense them all into one spreadsheet. So like literally it'll be like page after page after page of content because they've been around for a few years. Now, this is something that we've talked about early on when I joined the team here. If you pivoted your brand, like if you're not actually doing the same thing that you did years ago, you don't necessarily need to like download old stuff, unless like you were still talking like slightly in the same industry, but like maybe your offers changed. If that's the case, like definitely dig up old stuff, because what comes out of here for each of us is very valuable. And sometimes we just don't realize like all the gold that already exists that we can pull from so that we don't have to be creating everything from scratch, right? Like we've got enough to do as business owners. We've got enough pages to create everywhere. The more that we can support ourselves in this process, the better. So let me go back to screen sharing there. Oops, I think I took you guys to the wrong one. Boom. Okay, so back to the screen sharing. We just did that for Facebook. Now in Creator Studio, we can click over to Instagram and repeat the process. Okay, so we'll export data. I haven't actually done it for stories, so let's do that now. If the date range works the exact same, you can only do like such November. So interval may not exceed 92 days, so it's not going to let you pull it out. I'm going to come back to July because that's when I was posting actively last. And If we want the content from each of our posts, we just do the post download, and that is going to look like this. Oh, I didn't share my full screen. Let me do that. That's going to look like this guy right here. These ones are Instagram posts, so it looks identical to what the Facebook page posts look like. But this time, I'm going to try stories in real time. So we'll click generate. It's going to take a second up here. It'll say in progress. So you just have to wait. Usually it's like 15 seconds or something. There we go, for that to pop up. And then we just go ahead and save that. And now let's see what our stories look like. Yeah, it's not gonna pull up the specific content. So it's just, yeah. It's not pulling up the stories at all. So we can just do this for our posts for the Facebook page and Instagram profile. Now, the one thing that I just caution everyone about is that if you only have personal profiles, so if you're just using your Facebook personal profile, like your individual like account that you signed up for, you won't be able to get this data because just it's not available for individual accounts. With Facebook, it's only available for business pages. And with Instagram, it's only available if you're using that creator account or if you're using the business account for Instagram. And so even if you don't plan on running ads for like a year, I highly recommend creating a business page and creating an Instagram creator or business account, because it gives you access to all of this data. It gives you access to the insight that you need to see how things are working, right? Like see what people are clicking on, see what people are engaging with, see what people are saving and sending to other people, so that you can understand what these humans are resonating with, so that you can create more and more and more of that. So that's my first tip, is going to that Facebook page, or going to, Creator Studio here and downloading all of your content. The next one that I'm a huge fan of using is just generally repurposing any and all of our content. So let's use, for example, the client that I'm working with. She once spoke at an event called Entrepalooza. Okay, so she had a video of her speaking on this stage. The event gave her a recording of her on the stage. The quality of the recording, not so great, but that's okay. That's not what we're worried about today. What we want to do is then get that event, whether it's a live stream that you do, whether it's a small group that you speak to. Like literally, I'm talking if you're at a 2-3 person event, meaning you're just grabbing drinks with friends and you're saying some really great stuff about what your business does, or you're sharing some insight that would be helpful for people. Like you could literally even just press record on your phone to capture the audio. It doesn't have to be you speaking specifically. I'm just using that as the example here. But once we have that video or audio file, we can send it off to be transcribed, right? So she was on a stage. I then sent this using my transcription service. The one that I used for this one was Searchy. That's not necessarily the one that I recommend. It's like $100 a month, and this client already pays for it for something else. So that's the reason that I used Searchy for this one. I at times use Rev. It's a captioning service. Again, there's a price tag with it. It's like $1 a minute, but I do find Rev has the most value, or not most valuable, the most accurate transcription as anyone really. I find Rev's like the number one that I like to do. But there are lower cost options to spit out something like this. I think one's called otter.ai. And then you can definitely Google other free transcription tools to be able to pull all of the text. Now, as you can see, this text is not pretty. It's not necessarily Instagram ready, but there's insight here. There's specific nuggets that we could pull out into other content. Like the word count of this 40-minute presentation is probably, let's say, 2,000 words. So once I get audio in text, like in transcribed format, the next thing that I do is I bring it over to Google Docs and then I start to clean it up, right? So I'm watching or I'm listening to the audio. I copy and paste all of this text over here into a Google Doc. And then slowly I start going through it and trying to make a little bit more sense of it, in the same way that we've been talking about how to style different writing, right? Like lots of white space, using the tools that we've been going over, like Hemingway Editor, like Grammarly, to be able to like clean it up and get it ready for social media, right? So this is a process that takes me, it takes me a few minutes to go through. As you can see, this is as far as I've got in the document of making it clean. But then I start also, as I'm cleaning it up, coming up with other ideas, right? So it's like this top part is straight from the transcript. And then I put a page break here because I'm like, ooh, there's a cute story here. She tells a story about learning something called the I know trap from Chuck Norris's dad. And the whole punchline is that Chuck Norris is a dog. It's his dad, the owner, that actually taught her the trap, right? And so I pulled that story out separately. And then I started to fill in the blanks as we went, so that once I'm done this, once I go through, there's another pause right here. I'm going to start to see different posts kind of come to the surface, right? And then at the end of it, I'll individually go through each one and be like, okay, this from here to here is the Instagram post. What do I want the image to be? How do I want to then tighten up this story? And coming over and using the tools that we always talk about, Hemingway Editor with their grade 2 readability, like this one's pretty strong for social media. It just needs to fill out some of the examples to build it out a little bit stronger. So that is one of my absolute tips, going through content that already exists to create your social media monthly calendar or launch calendar, because then we're not spending the time being like, what do I post next? Oh my God, I have to post something today. I haven't posted anything. We batch it all together. We do it all at once until, sometimes I can only create, let's say 5. Well, what did I showed you that example. There's 5 examples on this page and then another one. So this was one session where I sat down and I was looking at inspiration and I came up with 6 pieces of content. I wrote them on the piece of paper and then I moved on. And then I did it another day and I came up with 5 separate pieces of content, right? Didn't need to be by the computer. I just needed to capture it when the inspiration was there. And now I have 10 different pieces of content. On the yellow page is 2 captions that I've been working on to build out these 5 guys right here. And then lastly, this one is 3 more pieces that I captured in another little inspiration setting. So 13 pieces of content. None of this I created from nothing. It's all just based on inspiration of things that I'm seeing as I'm going through the content, as I'm going through my old posts. It just makes everything quicker and easier for me, so that when I sit down, I'm just like content. And then I get to spend more time chatting with people and growing that community. And then there's one other thing. So if you are live streaming, I found this really cool tool. As somebody who used to do events who had live captioning at the events, it's called Web Captioner, and it's a free captioning tool where you can talk and it's going to caption it in real time. Can you see this on the screen? This is so cool. I wonder if I say period. Oh, it does make a period. So you then have to tell it to have a period. Then once you're done, you click stop captioning. And then you just come here to settings. And then you can save the transcript directly to your computer. So if you're going on somebody else's podcast, if you're doing a live stream and you're plugged into the computer, if you're even just like talking things out and don't really want to sit down and write, you just want to share ideas, this tool, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing. So the URL is webcaptioner.com. To go straight into the tool itself, you can just go to webcaptioner.com/captioner to really just get what we had there. Can you see this? Do I have my whole share or screen shared? I do not. To get this guy downloaded for free, you can use this tool, Web Captioner. So I love that nugget right there and wanted to share it with you. Okay. So then the last thing that I have for inspiration, other than, like scrolling Instagram and scrolling Facebook and seeing the content that you resonate with, right? And taking inspiration from that. One of the other tools that I love using, let me come over here and launch it, is called the Facebook Ad Library. The reason I love the Facebook Ad Library is because people don't spend money on ads for a long period of time if they're not working, right? So I'm going to come over here. I clicked into this brand that I'm continuously seeing in my timeline right now called Yoga Body. It's all about like tight hips and stuff. Apparently they know I need to have this in my life. And so then I'm going to look at how long their ads have been running and at each individual ad to just take inspiration from it, right? Because like these ones have been running since January. Let's let more load. These ones have been running since December. Like that's a pretty long time in the ad world. This one's been running since September. This one's been running since August. June, like almost a year these things have been running for. So like, what is it about these ads? What is the styling? How is the content spaced? How much white space is there? What is it? Video? Is it text only? Is it a story? Like just take inspiration from brands that are similar to yours. Also, I love going to brands that aren't like mine. Let's use, I think they're called AG1. No, Athletic Greens. No, that's not it. There's a brand called Athletic Greens and I'm obsessed with their ads lately. I don't sell a physical product, but that doesn't mean that I can't go to Ad Library and look at the content that they've had running for so long to take inspiration on how to write those really challenging posts where we're asking people to take action, where we're asking people to leave that social media platform and go make a purchase or sign up for our wait list. Anyone else that has been doing it for a really long time, probably has some insight into what's working. And so I'll give you another example of somebody in the course creator industry, which is like, you guys have courses, you guys have offers. You might not be talking about Instagram and Pinterest as a subject matter, but that doesn't mean that we can't go look at other course creators and take inspiration from their style of posts, right? So Jenna Kutcher has been running this since May of last year. So like, what about it? What could you take inspiration from as well? Take a look at all of these. And then the last thing is, anytime I find content that I really enjoy, whether it be social media content or even just a great website experience, I am always bookmarking stuff to then come back to. This whole sales page. There it is. I was just at the bottom. This during the pandemic, I thought I was gonna start playing piano. So I rented a piano. I was like, I'm gonna learn how to play music. I've never played music in my life. And I came across this guy right here. And ever since, I've been obsessed with the clarity and the simplicity of his website, right? So taking inspiration from this, not only for your own sales pages and your own website, but then just different little nuggets that you can turn into social media content, right? Like you'll notice he asks lots of questions. So you could take this about your topic and repurpose that and answer the same question in a similar manner, very succinctly, and create that content. So those are my tips for creating a lot of content quickly, especially in a way that doesn't feel like you're banging your head against the wall, being like, oh my God, how the heck am I going to come up with like 50 posts? You might not need 50 posts, but I just pulled a number out there as an example. For me, instead of staring at that blank page, I'm going to the content that already exists. I'm improving it. I'm optimizing it. I'm editing it. I'm making it more succinct. And then I'm using those tools that we always are talking about, Hemingway Editor and Grammarly, to be able to write like in a way that speaks to your audience. And it's this reflection process, this refinement process that over time is going to have you creating content even more quickly, so that the next launch, you're more prepared, because it's like you've already put together all of this content. You'll have the data to understand which was the highest engaging piece of content or pieces of content. And then you can use that as inspiration for the next launch to build on that and to build on that and to build on that. And it's not cheating to use content that you've literally created years ago. Like in my own business, I'm pulling out articles that I wrote back in like 2017 to 2019 and repurposing them over on a different platform, because that genius came from up here and it's still applicable today. So definitely you guys jump into this process so that you can cut down that content creation time, so that you have more time to build that community and get yourself out there on other people's platforms.